joined by JFab, Josh Fabello, my director of operations on my real estate team. We're going to talk a lot about what's going on in real estate when we aren't on air. Make sure to follow us. I am at the Andrew Duncan on Instagram, and then at the Duncan Duo, Twitter, Instagram, X, I should say, instead of Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, pretty much everywhere else out there. Always putting out relevant real estate tips and information. If you're a real estate agent, we're always putting out good stuff to help real estate agents perform and produce in a challenging market. Obviously, it is a challenging market, but one of the things I want to talk about, and it's something that's been in the news because, one of the large national real estate brokerages, Compass and Zillow, have been in a lawsuit for coming soon properties and controlling listing syndications. There's been a big dispute between both of them trying to control how real estate listings are advertised, because what's really happened the last few years, and this is probably more prevalent in like the luxury and uber luxury space, but more and more higher end sales are selling off market. You're seeing we're getting clients coming to us. I mean, we have one this week, says, hey, I want open water, Bayshore, south of Gandy, something really specific. He wants a certain price point, and we're out there hunting it and getting sellers to call us back. And the interesting thing is that a lot of people in that price range, maybe they don't really want to sell, but if they get the right price, right? They're successful, they're multimillionaires, and look, there's always a price that someone's willing to move. And the buyers in that price range, fortunately, also have that flexibility where, whether it's, 7 million, 9 million, 11 million, they've got it, right? And so for them, it's more of a convenience and a desire to accomplish something than it necessarily always is making sure that the property's worth it. Because when you get into the higher end estates, really challenging to comp those and value those. Sometimes they're one of one, and it's like, okay, there's nothing else in Tampa that's fitting this, right? And Josh, you can speak to this because it's happening across all price ranges though. Even though it's prevalent out on the West Coast, you hear it a lot in like LA, Beverly Hills, Hollywood real estate, celebrities selling their stuff off market. And now you see it much more, it's trickled down into other price ranges and across the country. And we're seeing it pretty regularly here where we're representing clients or selling houses internally, where we've got the seller's ready to go market, and we have a buyer too, and deals happen before homes ever hit the market. So it's a lot more prevalent than it was maybe just a few years ago.
So true. Yeah, we're seeing a huge uptick in that, actually. We've done quite a few deals this year already, starting out in January and February, that we've had people coming in. We're not even getting the properties listed yet. Yeah. We're not even getting the photos done. We have
a high-end home, a little below $3 million price range on Texas Avenue in the Hyde Park area, and we have offers on it already, and it's 2 months from completion. It's not even done yet. So it's interesting that, you hear these statistics about, the real estate market's this or the real estate market's that. And I know this week, and it said that, home sales were off of the estimates and off year over year nationally. I'm a big opponent of paying attention to national real estate stats because they don't really tell the true story. Right. Even local real estate stats can be off, right? Like, where do you live again? What part of town? Riverview. Yeah. Yep. So in Riverview, the market could be on fire, and then it may be doing not as great in St. Pete, 20, 30 miles away. And people don't understand that Tampa Bay's got this really broad geographic area, and you might hear your neighbor's house absolutely fly off the shelf, and then you're wondering why your home isn't selling. And it's because real estate is super hyper local, and it also varies the strategies that you use to sell a $10 million estate property compared to a $500,000 house in Fishhawk are two completely different things, right? They're also two completely different markets. What may be doing really well in one isn't necessarily doing really well in another. And I do believe that when the January stats come out, we'll see that I believe Tampa Bay is going to buck that trend and perform better than the rest of the country. The stats haven't come out yet. We're feeling it already. In our business, we're definitely feeling it. Like, we're busier. Mortgage company at citywidetampa.com is seeing more pre-approvals. Yep. We're seeing more activity on our listings. We're having stuff sell before it comes off market. We're getting buyers coming to us, like I mentioned before, and saying, hey, I want to buy, but what I want isn't necessarily available, right? And so when I hear people say that, inventory is high, it can be argued that that is the case nationally, but when you drill down into specific niches of the market, it isn't the case. No, there are segments of the market where the inventory is light, where you have to go find the inventory. And if you're a home buyer right now and you're not working with an agent that is going out and hunting to find off-market opportunities, you might have the wrong agent. We have agents that do it every day. And the unique thing about how we're set up as a company is when those customers come in with those unique needs, we want to match them with the right agent, right? Like, so if somebody comes in and says, hey, I'm looking for something, and we have an agent that's really more their niche, or that's the area of town that they live in, so they can go canvas neighborhood or drive around or do those things, that large agent base gives us that flexibility to be able to align the customer with the right person.
So true.
And so, Josh, when you kind of see, some of the off-market stuff, too, again, and I said this in our meeting this week, I said, as an agent, you can't wait on the magical MLS marketing machine. You've got to go out and hunt and find the opportunities for your clients. And we have a lot of agents doing just that.
Yeah. I mean, there's a really cool thing about our team is that we leverage AI, I think probably more so than any other team right now. And we were able to track down properties that nobody else has access to. And
the data that we get access to with some of our software partners, the Palantir type data.
Yeah.
Like we know, like, we can go into our system and especially after having been in the business for 20 years, we've got the databases of a few 100,000 people. So we can look and see who's opted into communication, who hasn't, who lives where, what their mortgage is, and then fine tune that criteria to say, hey, this is what our client is looking for. Do we know someone that we've helped or that has been on our website that has this criteria where we can kind of match that? And so for sellers, it's helpful because, look, there's no secret that if a real estate agent puts a deal together off market, there could be some savings for the home seller. The real estate agent isn't going through the process of marketing and spending dollars. And, so there's a potential savings there when you go to somebody that can help you find a buyer. And it's what we do. It's part of our process with every listing. We would love to find the buyer before it goes on the market. We have a huge database. Those are things that we're doing as part of our process of properly marketing the home. And certainly it's always the seller's choice. The seller can sometimes decide, yeah, I'll take that off market offer, or you know what, I want to go on the market and see if I can beat it, see if there's better out there. And, I'm a firm believer in seller's choice. I don't love the conversation about, I don't love when the MLS or Zillow or some of these other entities try and dictate what's best for the seller. What's best for the seller is what the seller freaking wants. They have enough data at their fingertips. We're not the gatekeepers of the data anymore. I'm sorry. Like, I can go on to Grok, on any AI chat. I can go on Claude, Chat GPT. Yep. I can get the data. The data, we can't gatekeep the data anymore. So, but we're still acting like it as an organization, as an industry. And customers are going to get that information and data, whether we are the conduit for it or not. Sure. So in my opinion, oftentimes, we run into these obstacles where the powers that be, the boards, they want to have as many as they can as far as agents paying dues, because they don't make more money if I sell more real estate. They make more money when they have a lot more people.
Correct.
So it's always interesting when I see, we're pro agent. Your pro agent count.
Right.
There's a difference. And so in my opinion, we're pro, we're pro productive agent and we're pro customer choice. And at LPT, we're pro agent choice. We want to provide the conduit for the customer. And Josh, you've seen this firsthand as both an experienced agent and then on the operations side, how often an off-market deal is the right thing for a client.
It really is. I love seeing a deal come together like that because one, the seller, it makes us look like rock stars because here we are, we have our database of buyers out there and they go, man, God, you already brought me an offer. We haven't gone to the market yet. And they can still choose at that point. They still want to test the market or not, or take the deal. And oftentimes a lot of our sellers, they want the best value and they want probably the quickest timeline.
Convenience matters.
Convenience is huge.
And
Amazon
so
days.
You look at these enormous companies that have come out and turned into iBuyers, and if net profit and the net number delivered to the seller was the only thing that mattered, those companies wouldn't exist.
Right.
I wouldn't buy investment property. I wouldn't buy cash offer homes that we buy through our fund that we buy directly from customers. I wouldn't have those. Like customers value convenience, and so that the solution needs to be there for it. So it'll be interesting to see how all that shakes out in the lawsuit, and how it trickles down to boards and MLSs and the regulatory stuff in the industry. But I'm just a firm believer in an open market, agent choice, customer choice. If a customer doesn't want their house going on the market and they have an incredible estate and they just want us to hunt and track down a buyer, or if a buyer says, hey, I've worked with agents and they're not helping me find what's out there because there's nothing out there and they're just waiting for the magical MLS marketing machine to shoot out listings. We'll go find it. We'll go hunt it for you, you know? And we've had success doing that. Lots of transactions, millions and millions of dollars of transactions finding properties. We've found, $7 million to, transactions that were off market. We've done several multi-million-dollar deals off market where the customer had a unique taste and need, and what was out there didn't exist. So, and Josh, being our operations manager, I think, that's one thing I also want to touch on too, is how different it is to work with a real estate company where the administrative support for the transaction. It's like a lawyer with a paralegal. A lawyer is really good at arguing and statutes and documents. They may not be necessarily great at the details. And that's the approach of our operations team.
It really is. I mean, from the top down, you've got me, you've got our transaction coordinators, listing coordinators. We're all making sure that the deal is going through. You're not just dealing with your agent, which is who you hire, but the support staff behind that is making sure everything else gets done, the inspections, the appraisals. That way, everything's a seamless process. So once you close, you're like, wow, that was an easy thing. Which if you look at our reviews, you'll see a lot of that.
For almost 1,500 5-star reviews on Google. And again, it's a lot of the process-oriented stuff. And speaking of that, it's also the problem solving, right? We know that's the biggest obstacle with real estate transactions. And I think that's where a lot of real estate agents are weak. They're great salespeople. They're great at finding the right property. But when it gets down into the problem solving, that's where we excel.
We do excel. And the reason why we excel is because we do so many transactions. We've seen it all. I mean, we still get surprised from time to time, but man, we have seen it all. We are able to come up with alternatives, get things done, and I love it. Our team is so crafted with that. I love that.
It's the same thing that we talk about when, even in some of our ads, the experience, it matters.